We're good? We're up and running? We are up and running. Okay. Look at this. First time ever. Time is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of the Newcastle Board of Selectmen on the day, what's today? July, I don't even know what day it is. It's July 13th, Monday. Call the meeting to order. So first thing we have is amendments to the agenda. I actually have a couple that we received. I guess, yeah, two. One, we got a request from CMP about their construction access license at the old dump site on the Mills Road to extend into next summer, since they're not going to get to that project this summer. So we'll add that under new business 4.3. And I've also got an executive session for a real estate matter that we'll add at the end. Does anyone have any other amendments to propose for the agenda?
Oh, yeah, Ben, there's an appointment of a member to the planning board.
I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of a planning board. That doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry.
Can I have the vice chair weigh in on this? I'm afraid we have some bias going on here.
All right, so we'll do a 4.4 appointments. All right, seeing nothing else, all in favor of the agenda as amended? Brian is on mute, so I'm going to call that 4-0-1. All right, so moving on, Board of Selectmen. No, we don't have any minutes. We didn't have any minutes?
Nope.
We didn't have minutes.
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. That's right. Harriet, I'm sure, is very busy, so that's not a problem. So 4.1, Board of Selectmen bylaws review. I take it everyone had a few minutes to just peruse through the bylaws. This was Joel's suggestion, and I thought it was a really good one to include as just something to talk about. We don't have to have a very long discussion, but if we've read it and thought about it a little bit, to just have a short discussion about how we thought it's been going this year, tee up any changes for the next board that we think might be appropriate to propose. I think there are some housekeeping issues that need to be made to the document. I've got some notes about that. And I think before we just dive in, I just want to quickly say that, you know, this is kind of a new thing for the board, but I think it's a good thing. We put a lot of effort into creating this. John writing it, all of us discussing it and batting around all the ideas. And I think it's a really good thing to have, and it's a really good thing to refer to. It's a great thing. I honestly wish that I had something like it as an incoming selectmen to read and understand how the board operated and sort of what the rules of conduct were. From that perspective alone, I think it's worth its weight. Yeah, I think if anyone's got something they want to start off with, most of everything I have are notes. I've got 6, 7, 8 things for notes, but they're all, you know, little tiny things. Does anyone have anything large they want to start us off with? Joel?
Well, I was just gonna. I probably have some of the same housekeeping things, which is just going through the town administrator manager change in there. But I just wanted to bring up that this is a living document in such that at any point it can be amended by the board. So if there is something that comes up that we find is all of a sudden not working, or we have a different situation, that it can be, you know, we can bring this up at any point. We don't have to wait until the end of the year to do it, or at any particular time. We can amend this whenever. And I just think that's a good thing to remember, and it's a good thing just to, again, I think that makes this, that's what really makes this a good set of bylaws, is that it's not just a dead document. It's a living document and should be referred to often. And if something isn't in here that needs to be in here, we should just remember that we can definitely add to this. So
Great.
That was-
Good. Thank you, Brian. I think I saw your hand next.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, same as Joel, if we gotta change all the town admin stuff to manager. You know, which is easy enough to do, I think. I don't think there's anything that really needs a change. On that, section 8, we're missing a word in meetings, that last sentence, when a member is not available for more than 4 unexcused regular. We need meetings in there. And the other thing I guess we need to discuss, I think we should bring this up again next week or our next meeting. You know, we've got the times on here at 6 o'clock that we never went to.
Right.
You know, so I think we need to discuss that and see if that's something we really want to do.
Actually, I saw that at one point it says we're going to start the meetings at 6, and then in another place it says we're going to end the meetings at 9.
Yep, it does. We're gonna end by 9.
So I don't know if do we want to commit to 3-hour meetings every meeting? I don't know whether I don't know that you want to do that. I mean, I don't have to do that anymore, but you guys, you know.
I know, I caught that too. I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. That's about right, isn't it?
It is about right.
That's about right. It's about what we do.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much all I had. Everything else is, like I said, I think we just need to review it again with the new members 2 weeks from now, make sure they all have it and understand it. And,
Yeah.
the time changes if we want to do that or not with that board. So.
Wanda, did I see you had your hand up?
I didn't, but basically the same thing. I just was looking at the time and all the administrator comments needs to be changed to manager. So
Yep.
those were really the 2 big things that I saw.
Okay. Carolyn, do you have anything you want to weigh in on?
No, just same things, same things.
I found a couple other little things and I didn't know how much we wanted to dig into them. I think there's a word that needs to be changed in section 3 under selectmen responsibilities. At the bottom of the page where it talks about 5 members of the board are elected on staggered terms. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Section 3. It talks about, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. The very end of section 3, right before section 4. If a quorum cannot be obtained, the meeting may be adjourned until a time and place certain. That probably should read shall, because as it stands, it kind of says, well, if you don't have a quorum, you can kind of adjourn if you want to, or you can keep going with the meeting. We should probably make it crystal clear. If we don't have a quorum, you can't meet.
Yeah, it should just say the meeting's canceled, period.
Yes.
If you don't have a quorum, you can't open a meeting, so you're never going to adjourn it. So.
Right. I just don't want there to be any ambiguity.
That would be a long meeting.
It could be a long meeting.
2-week meeting.
Yeah. So section 9, which talks about meetings. I don't know why we talked about this a lot at one point, but remote meetings, like what we're doing right now. We had talked about this a lot before this ever became an issue, about whether we were going to do it, how we're going to do it, if we're going to do it a certain amount of times. And I think this section needs to be amended to include language that talks about emergency situations, you know, declared state of emergency situations, how we're going to handle those meetings like this, what the default format will be, and what the rules shall be given those circumstances. And that we should make some statement, I believe, that says, when feasible, practical, safe, whatever, the best form of meeting for a select board is always in person. However, if that's not a safe, effective, in the best interest of everyone involved, then these are the other ways you can accomplish the business of the town. If we have that in there, then we know exactly what to fall back on, and we don't have to make it up again. And we don't have to have this conversation. Are we going to do this again? Are we going to, how are we going to do this? You know, we just know. So I'm just going to put that out there. And I'm going to let all you guys figure it out.
Yeah, we can talk to the new board with that because I agree. We've been using Zoom now for 4 months. It's worked well. I think if you can't make a meeting in person, but you can Zoom in from wherever you are, you know.
We just have to be able to have that, written in, and the setups and all, I mean, I'm gonna let you guys figure that one out, but The other thing I had was under agenda creation. We have a whole section on that. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Section 17, agenda items. So assuming, and this may be a big assumption, but assuming the budget passes and we do make the move to Civic Clerk, Civic Plus, the format for creation of agendas, approval of agendas, handling of minutes, creation of minutes, access to agenda items, access to public documents, all of that is going to get changed. So I guess it's more kind of a, don't have to do anything about it now, just be thinking about it. And when that system gets set up, this needs to be reviewed to make sure that it's in compliance with the new way that we're doing things and reflects that level of transparency that we really want to kind of get to with agenda items, documents, minutes, and just have everybody have access to them. And so again, it's just a follow-up for later on down the line. The other thing I had was that it says at some point about meetings will be available with, by DVD, and that is the participation and voting also needs to be amended to include online or virtual meetings, just to make sure that it's obvious, and then the minutes being the section 21, a verbatim and official recording of the meeting is the DVD. We don't do DVDs anymore, or at least we're not right now. So it just needs to say something like electronic media or, live stream or whatever the case may be. I know that may change going down the road of the Civic Clerk, Civic Plus, and whatever the media setup that we actually have in the new meeting room is. But I'm assuming that it's probably not going to stay a DVD format, which would be good. It should be integrated. It should be part of the package. And that's the way I think it should be. So if we just change it to electronic media, I think at least for now we're covered, and then you guys can address it when it changes later on down the line. So that's all I've got.
There.
Any other discussion, thoughts, all about the
It's amazing how much things can change in a few months. Things that we didn't think were a possibility are now what we're doing, Yeah. It's funny. But I have gotten a lot of compliments on and it's not just our meetings, like a lot of meetings in different towns are on Zoom now, and so people are watching them live, and I think we're getting a lot more involvement from the town, which is great. People that I know weren't watching the meetings before are watching them now, and I think that's awesome. So
yeah,
definitely still live streaming, even when we're able to meet in person, is a really important thing. Because I think this part is that part's really working well. So.
All right, good. Anybody got anything else on the bylaws for the Board of Selectmen? I think if we don't have anything else to say, I guess I would just say that, the thought behind the bylaws is that, yes, like Joel said, we can amend them at any time, and we should feel free to do so, review them regularly. But it's also the first thing that should be done in the first session of the new board, just to adopt these bylaws as the method of operation for the board, and review them for new members, as well as elect, officers and everything like that. So fun first meeting, always a fun first meeting. All right. We don't need to take any action on that. So if nobody has anything else to say about the bylaws, we'll move on to the disbursement and warrant policy review, which is 4.2. And I'm assuming that's why we have our legal counsel here with us tonight.
That's right.
All right.
That's exactly why I'm here, guys. So The reason that I've drafted that change, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure where I screwed up in terms of sending it to you, but I've sent it to John again. So let me know that you've all seen it. You're going to lose my pretty face for a second. But the provision I've drafted into your disbursement policy goes at the end of section, or it goes in section 3, which is permitted disbursements prior to warrant approval. The reason that I put in letter H is because COVID-19 has caused problems in other municipalities. And I haven't drafted it specifically to be COVID-19 related. But what the amendment says is payments on contractual obligations for existing contracts when a quorum of the Board of Selectmen is not available within a 2-week period, and in the opinion of the town manager, a delay in payments will cause economic waste. So that would then say that payment is allowed under Roman numeral 3. So the reason that's important is, let's say you have the Lincoln Academy Hill project going, and there's a progress payment that is supposed to be made to Seth, but now all of a sudden 3 members of the Board of Selectmen are in the hospital for COVID-19. At that point, John would not be permitted under 4A to make any payments to Seth, which would mean the project would have to stop. If the project stops, Seth's only choice is to basically demobilize, move on to another project, potentially in another town. And then the town would have all of the expenses of remobilizing Seth to the site to finish the work once a progress payment could be made. Now, this isn't specific to, protect Seth or anybody else. It's really to prevent the town from having extra expenses that are really an issue of what's called economic waste. So economic waste is just things that you didn't foresee and are now losing money on because you hadn't thought of the issue before. Most practitioners hadn't thought of this issue, but I'm recommending to more and more towns that they have a policy in case you have a situation in which you have 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 3 board members that have come down with it and are sick enough that they can't attend meetings. Having heard Carolyn just speak about it, it sounds to me that it's not unlikely if I were to get it, that I would not be coming to meetings for at least a few weeks. And so I think it's a sound policy to enact.
So thank you, Peter. I just want to make clear that what we're talking about is this provision would only apply to prior contractual obligations, which would include road projects, things like cemetery mowing. Also, any contracted labor that we have, like assessor's agent or things like that.
Right. And now it doesn't mean that, like, let's take a different situation. I give this situation to John earlier. If you have a situation in which you have a line item in your town meeting budget that has, let's say $100,000 to paint, the firehouse or something, I don't know. But that agreement, that contract hasn't been signed by the Board of Selectmen as of the date that everyone comes down with a problem. That would not be covered by this because the contract hasn't been executed by the board and it's not active. Okay. So it doesn't give John carte blanche to just sign whatever contract he wants. It really has to be a contract that is in operation at the time that the Board of Selectmen quorum goes down.
And further, it would also have to be at a time when the board is unavailable and a payment on prior contract is due.
Exactly
only
right.
under those circumstances.
Exactly right. And only when it's preventing economic waste. Okay, so that would be the other piece of that, is that we're still giving John some discretion to say, well, there's no real harm to the town if we if we don't pay this one, this one thing that we were starting to work on. Like, let's say an IT consultant is going to come in and rewire the building. You've signed the contract, but he says, "Oh, I don't care if we wait until X date to do it. Just let me know when you're available." In that case, John wouldn't necessarily be obligated to do it, but if he was concerned that there would be problems from doing it that would be wasteful, then he could do it.
Good. All right. Does anyone have any questions about the change to the policy that's being proposed?
Nope.
Do you feel like it's important for us to enact this policy now, John, Peter, or should we wait until the next session of the board?
Well, I mean, I'd go ahead and do it, but it's up to you guys. I mean, I'd get it done just because, as you've said, we didn't see a lot of things coming that just hit, and from everything I've read, this thing is only getting worse. So I'd get it done, but that's just me. You don't meet for another 2 weeks, right?
Right.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, I'd get it done. That's my advice.
It's a minor change.
John?
Yeah, no, I think that it's a pretty narrow window of what could happen. I mean, let's hope it never happens, right? Let's hope that we never have to use something like this. But it allows, effectively, it's saying the policy of the board continues even in the absence of the board. And that's really what is operating. It's not as if it's not a change in policy. It's simply reaffirming that though 3 or more of you can't get together for whatever reason, we are able to continue to operate. So it's not a change of change in any direction. If there's a situation where that economic whatever there we go, that waste, in case that waste were evident, and if it's not, then it can wait. And so obviously we want to try to use these meetings as the opportunity for people to look over those warrants and have those questions. So this would be the outlier, certainly not the norm.
Okay. I guess at this point, thank you, gentlemen. I guess I'd entertain a motion on the amended policy regarding check disbursement prior to expenditure warrant approval.
So moved.
No seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor of the amended policy? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Let's see. What's your other?
CMP and
Okay.
Zach, and then we're done.
Oh, the real estate matter. Does that involve an abatement?
No.
Okay. Do you want me on for that?
I don't think we need you. Actually,
I'm happy to listen in and jump in if you need me to.
I think we're good.
Okay.
We may or may not take action after the fact. If we do, you'll hear about
it. Fair enough. Okay. Anything else for tonight, though, guys?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Everybody good?
Appreciate it.
Well, I just want to say, since it's your last meeting, Ben and Carolyn, it's been an honor to serve the town with you guys. I think you've both done an excellent job over your tenure, and I wish you the best, and I hope to see you around.
Thank you very much.
Peter.
Same.
Take care of your family.
You as well. I hope you deal with those side effects.
I'm trying.
Okay, guys. All right. Well, have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you soon. Be safe.
Thanks, Peter. Take care.
Peter.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So 4.3. Hold on. I got to get back to my agenda, which. Just a second. .3 is the amendment here, which is the CMP project that we approved a while ago. I guess that was maybe early spring.
Yeah, January. January,
Oh,
February.
okay, it was,
That long ago. Well, you
All
got
right.
if we really didn't have a spring, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they've contacted you, John, to say that they're not moving. They're definitely not moving forward.
Correct. They're not moving forward this year. They're hopeful to work in 21 on the island or the transmission line that runs through Great Salt Bay, and so they're looking for an extension from us to effectively extend that agreement for the next construction season.
Did our agreement actually have an expiration date originally?
Yes.
And it was what? I don't recall.
This construction season.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Did we put like a year end on it, like FY20?
Yep. So their access, the access agreement ended in 20. I think it was in October of 20. So this is obviously part 2, which is allowing them to run into November of 2021.
November of 2021.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the start date would be next spring. Correct?
Right. That's what I'm trying. It's they're not going to be working in the winter. They'll be working in their regular summer season, just as they had presented to you next summer. But they're effectively wanting to extend their agreement for a full year. So to go from the end of this fall until next fall.
All right. So
Yeah.
let's. Does anyone have a motion on the extension? Do we want to
Sure.
make an action on it, Joel?
I'll move it.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, but I want to add that we give John the power to sign it.
Okay.
And
Well,
then
moved and seconded. Any further discussion, John? Joel?
I just wanted to just make sure that start date was clear in there so that it's not a straight extension till next November, till November 21. That we make sure that if something happens, they can't just land a bridge during snow plowing season or whatever.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I wanted to be clear that I guess it would just be that it wouldn't remain in effect. It would come into effect next June or whenever the plowing contractor decided it was okay to start that kind of work. So I just want to make sure that start just in case it was like something really bad happened and they were like, nope, we're putting a bridge in here. And
yeah. At present, it does say, it says the term will be extended for an additional 1-year period to November 7, 2021. So I guess by the letter of the law, they would be able to work in there during that potential, season. So if you want, I'm glad to kick back to them and say that it needs to be, no sooner than, May 1.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something in there just about there has to be something in there about conflict with just the dogs.
It's gonna get my dogs going.
We're getting them out. The porch has become a very busy place all of a sudden.
Well, Joel, that's a really good point. Why don't why don't I make an amendment and suggest that we table the motion pending review of the road commissioner and the town manager to add some language to avoid conflict between CMP and snow plowing activities that need to happen on the site, and send it back to CMP and then have them review it and kick it back to the board for the next meeting. I guess I'll make that motion to table it and have those things looked at.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion about the tabling? All in favor of tabling it until next meeting? That is tabled until next meeting. So John and Seth will get together and figure out some language that just protects our access to the site. In case things should fall down. Okay, so 4.4, shoot, I wrote 4.4 and I didn't write what it was.
It's the appointment of a member to the planning board.
Well, that's why I didn't write it down.
Want to point yourself?
I can't do that.
So let me just add here what's going on, because I think it might be somewhat confusing. We have this is the annual time of year when members of the boards their terms expire. We unfortunately Bonnie Stone, who has served for many, many years as the planning board chairman, and for that design review, is choosing to step away. We thank her for her time and devotion to that group. She has been an absolute rock star in that effort. She has really been a real asset to the town, and so while this is certainly a night for Ben and Carolyn to walk away, and we'll talk about that, I want to salute Bonnie because she really has been a great leader for the town and on a board that if you don't do it right on the planning board, it can become a very, very problematic thing for the entire town. And she's led that group with I think a lot of grace and diplomacy and intellect, and I think it's been she's been a real asset to the town. So her absence, and there is an additional vacancy on that board for a regular member, we're somewhat forced to jump ahead of the line in trying to fill that seat, or we would only have but a handful of members on that planning board. So tonight there was a chance we may have a planning board meeting this week. That's not going to happen, but that could happen. And so the reason that I'm asking you all to consider this appointment tonight of Ben, because Ben has expressed an interest to me, and I think he would be a good asset on that planning board. In addition, I would also add there is one vacancy as well. So we're not shutting anyone else who might be interested. There's still one vacancy there, so we'd love to fill that vacancy as well. So if someone's watching this and wants to join Ben or any of the other great folks on the planning board, let me know. Let Michelle know. Shelley, Harriet, we'd love to get you on the list. But that's the reason why this is a little bit out of order from how we usually do these things. I will have a list for you next time. In fact, Shelley put it together today, but it was so late in the day, I didn't want to send you one more thing on Monday. So I do have a list of some other appointments, the Harry Bird Clubhouse folks, the Veterans Park Committee, all of those regular run of folks, Design Review Committee as well. So I'm just asking if you could consider this one appointment tonight. We'll move on, and then I would expect probably at your next meeting I'll have a list of some appointments to various boards and committees in town.
Well, with that, I'll make a motion to appoint Ben Fry as of 7/15/2020 to the planning board.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. I'm going to abstain, but any discussion about the appointment?
Poor man.
Right?
Glutton for punishment.
Be called glutton for punishment.
Right. All right. All in favor of the motion? All right. That passes 4-0-1. Thank you, guys. We'll move on to the town administrator report and communications. Everybody got a chance to read and review that. We had a lot of interesting things happening in town. Any questions for John while we have him?
Oh, I'm ready for tomorrow.
You ready for tomorrow? Yeah. Wanda, go ahead.
No, I just want to say I see that, people have been calling, and I've just gotten a lot of people talking to me about, the town hall, it's supposed to be open. You're supposed to be able to call, make an appointment. So I talked to the ladies over there the other day because I really felt like I was giving people the wrong information. I read the paper saying that you call for an appointment, which meant you got in. And that really wasn't what's going on. So people are kind of frustrated. And I know in your letter, you said that, you know, the staff, the frontline staff haven't been hearing that, which is probably a good thing. Shouldn't take it out on them, but frustration is building. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
People want to get in and register their vehicles.
yeah, I know. I appreciate that, Wanda. I do. And just because those are the folks you're talking to, it's, you know, maybe you're just grateful to be on the phone with them, and you know, you're not frustrated because you're in the moment of, okay, we're moving forward finally, you know. So that's absolutely, you know, part of it. And you know, there's election day tomorrow. This has been unbelievable. You know, regardless of whatever's gone on in the office, this has been an experience like no other. And I hope that November is not as bad, but I expect it will be twice as bad in terms of the impact and the role that absentees will play and the time it takes to process them. It's not a small feat, and you know, it's not a vote by mail situation, but the amount of cataloging and caretaking to make sure those ballots are, the requests are filed properly, the ballots are sent out properly, they come back properly, and then they're distributed and the votes are cast. I mean, the amount of time and attention that goes into this, I mean, really, hats off to Michelle and Shelley and Harriet, who are making this thing go in really strange circumstances. And for those who show up tomorrow to vote, you know, thank you. You know, bring a mask if you can, please. There will be masks there, but you know, we're not requiring it, but we're requesting it. You know, please do that. We got protocols for cleaning and trying to keep. There'll be a lot of plexiglass, and we'll be dealing with that. But it's been an unbelievable scenario. It's been the weirdest situation I've ever dealt with in town government. But you know, I think the good sign for Newcastle residents they should feel good about is that we've got a good plan. We've got a good group of people who are working for it. We're gonna have some great volunteers who are gonna come in tomorrow and help to make this thing happen. Masks included, hand washing, all of the things that, you know, the CDC and others are telling us to do. We'll be washing, you know, flat surfaces and not reusing pens until they've been cleaned and, you know, bleached and Cloroxed and whatever. You know, we're taking precautions with this, but you know, the fact that we have so many absentees, we think that's a good thing. With 600 absentees, that's more than we would see in a presidential election by, like I said, like a 40% or so. So this is unbelievable. The overall, we have more absentee votes than, like I said, the vast majority of June elections. You know, so it'll be interesting to see how many will show up tomorrow. We have a staff that's pretty gassed. They're going to be pretty gassed, I should say, on Wednesday. They're going to be pretty tapped out. But those appointments are happening. We're going to get some of those fleets out the door. We're going to get some of those out-of-state folks out the door. We're going to get you know, we're gonna get that going so people are back on the road. We're waiting to hear from is the governor and what action the governor takes or does not take on her state of emergency. But we're ready for it as much as anyone can be ready, other than the ants, because we have carpenter ants now in the office. So that's just one more thing. I wasn't locust, but we went with the carpenter ants instead, I guess. So it's 2020.
That's just the tagline now.
It's
Right.
2020.
Everything that goes wrong, it's just 2020.
I mean,
They're not murder hornets.
just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, that's next, you know, that's next.
All right. Well, John, thank you very much. And thank you to the town staff as well. I know it's been an awful lot of work, an awful lot of strain. Tomorrow is no different. So I hope everybody that wants to vote has either voted or can get out to vote. I also sort of equally hope that everyone, you know, has voted maybe, and we don't have a huge turnout. And for those who do, that again, you know, follow the protocols and everybody be safe and get to vote, and that'll be great. I was over there a little bit helping Michelle set up, and it is interesting trying to figure out how to get social distancing working in that space. It'll be an interesting thing. All right, so we'll move on to our two fiscal warrants. I do want to take them one at a time tonight because I need to abstain from one of them. But the first one is a town warrant in the amount of $16,362.42. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
So seconded.
Any discussion on the town warrant? Okay, all in favor of the warrant? All right, that passes 4-0-1. All right, and then we have the Academy Hill warrant project, Academy Hill Road Reconstruction Project warrant in the amount of $165,367.01. Do we have a motion on that warrant?
So moved.
Moved and seconded by Brian. Do we have any discussion about that warrant? All in favor of the road reconstruction warrant? That passes 5-0. All right, so at this time, having no other business other than an executive session, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss a real estate matter.
Well, before we do that, I'd like to just take a minute before we sign off for the night, in case we don't come back. I just really thank Ben and Carolyn for their time on the board. Ben served 9 years with us. Carolyn's done 6. It's been an honor to serve with both of you. I think we've done a lot of great things for the town. I'm gonna miss both of you. It's been a long time, so. But as you both know, you've got a little parting gift.
I received a cryptic email from Michelle who was like, you got to come pick something up in the office. And I was like, what's this? And she's like, you can't open it until the meeting.
That's right. We put her right on that. Or, like to see you both go ahead and open them.
Okay.
You can open them? Okay.
You know how, I just want to say, you know what it took to stop my daughter from opening this shiny packet? She's 6.
Mine is purple. Okay, it's tricky to open.
Oh,
Oh, wow. It is a
Oh,
picture.
it's a Jake Day print.
Wow.
yes, I recognize it. That is wonderful.
That is awesome.
And
Thank you very much.
Board of Selectmen. Whose idea was this?
Can't take credit. We got to give it to Michelle.
Yeah.
Well, very, very nice, Michelle. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. This is great.
Great idea, Michelle.
This is really nice.
Wow. Yes, it is beautiful.
Well, thank both of you for all you've done over the past years.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's been an honor to serve on the board. It's been a lot of learning and a lot of fun. Honestly, I've enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. I really have.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I have. Good times and bad times. It's all been good times. We've got a lot done.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this and I said, it's been 5 years that I've been on the board and I've been with you two the whole time. And Ben, you were an inspiration to me getting involved in this racket in the first place. So I'm blaming you. And Carolyn, I just will never look at a mud puddle the same way. And every time I start talking and not stopping, I'm gonna think of you rolling your eyes at me, and I'm gonna slow down. So, no, but it's been great. I can't say how much I respect both of you, and what a great privilege it's been to do this with you guys. And we've been through a lot together, and just thank you. So.
Well, thank you guys. It's been interesting 6 years, and once in a while, Joel, skip that rock in those puddles. Don't have to look
Okay,
too deep.
I'll do it
Skip that rock.
for you, Carolyn, for you.
Okay. I'll be tuning in, so now I can watch you guys. And I'll still roll my eyes, though. I will still.
There you go. Good.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. That's very, very nice. Very much appreciated. All right. So we'll move into executive session now. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor of going into executive session? All right, John, take us off the live stream.